Miss Linda Murray, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, no problem. I
Yeah.
got to give props to Susanna Jacobs. She helped me get in touch with you. So she's helped me with a few others. So I got to tell her thank you. So
Yeah. Susanna's great. I got to see her in person at the Wings of Strength headquarters, and then I know she just competed in the Bahamas because at the time she was getting ready for a show, so she didn't really have any plans of competing. But she looked great when I saw her last. So
yeah, do you know where she placed? Because I hadn't had a chance to talk to her.
I know she did not win. I don't believe she placed in the top 3. It was an unexpected. We had a female bodybuilder. I think at first the list, there were about 4 competitors. And then I look at the list later, there's 6. And we had a couple of women that actually switched over from women's physique into bodybuilding. And so it was a name that I didn't recognize. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she looked great anyways. So I know
she looks amazing.
Yeah. She's been tearing up them contests online. She's been winning like every one of them.
Yeah. She was just, really complete. So I was actually surprised that she wasn't in the top 3. I looked at the list prior to, because I have to do a lot of, actually in preparation for the shows that we do for Wings of Strength. I have to do a lot of work as far as all of the women and getting their competitive history so that when we commentate on them, after prejudging, after the finals, we know what we're talking about as far as where they placed in the past, if they competed in the Puerto Rico Pro, just to really have some accurate information. And that from doing interviews, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. People just think you just pick up a mic and just start talking. But I'm like, nah, man, we have to try to, if you want to do it right, you have to do it the way they do it on anything you see on television or news or whatever.
Now, what's the name of that show you do on Fridays?
It's called Femme Flex Friday.
Femme Flex Friday. Okay.
Right. And femme meaning women. So it's a show on women. We mostly only interview women. And if we interview a man, it's because he works directly with women or he somehow plays a major role in women. Right. And the industry, we're about 66% of the industry when you do the numbers. And so when you look at the bikini and the wellness, and you look at women's physique and bodybuilding, we spend a lot of money in the industry, and there are more of us than the men. So we really felt that it was important to represent the women. Yeah.
I think I'd rather see more women than men. So
yeah, I like that
too. So kind of going back to when you started, and let me tell you what, you look amazing. And to think that you were competing in the 90s and stuff like that is just hard to believe. So
thank you.
But you started out, you're originally from Detroit.
Yes.
Okay. You went to high school there, you went to college. When you were in college, the thing that fascinated me the most was you tried out for my favorite football team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah, that was like, hey man, that was the thing, you know. I was raised up in the 70s. I think they did like a big thing on the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and you know the Dallas Cowboys hot in the 70s. And I love football, love football. One of my favorite sports to watch. And so I started high school in 1980. And really, I was cheerleader all the way through like high school. But I had this dream, and it was to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. So that was the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That must have been a pretty extreme tryout, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely. It was huge. I mean, first of all, I live in Michigan, and therefore, you know, so you know my story. I did go to Western Michigan University after high school because I knew that cheerleading wasn't like a career, right? And so I knew it was important that I get my college degree. So I went to Western Michigan. So during that period of time, I was preparing myself to make that trip to Dallas. And I did in 1983, actually. So I officially graduated from Western Michigan in 84, but I took the fast track. I only had like 20 credit hours to complete before I received my 4-year degree. So I really got it done in almost 3 years because I was in school like during spring and summer, kind of like went straight through. But then, so I try for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. It was a large women from all over the country. And I make it all the way to the 45 girls. They have 45 girls. And then right before the actual season, they have 9 that would be like considered to be on the bench, you know, and then they actually have 36 girls that they're on the team. But because I was a USFL cheerleader, and you're familiar with the USFL,
yes.
United States Football League, Michigan Panthers, I would say the second most, I would say, I don't know if I'd say the most successful as far as professional football, but we definitely attracted a lot of the NFL top names in the NFL, Heisman Trophy winners like Herschel Walker, and Bobby Hebert was the quarterback for the United States Football League. So anyway, I was on that cheerleading team. They had different seasons. So that was in 1983. We won the USFL championships in 83. And I believe we won it in 84 as well. So with that, there was a conflict. So you can't really be on one professional team at the same time within the year. So they had me come back the following year. And that's where I go into Ron Love and all of these guys. And I end up, because they watched me on my journey trying to change my athletic physique and be less athletic and look like what we see on bikini competitors. And that's just not my physique, is my natural genetics, not a tiny girl. So I was really trying to lose muscle and that athletic look to be more of have a dancer's physique. So I just made the decision when it was time to return, because the coach did allow me to come back the following year, because when she really looked at my history, she saw that I was a USFL cheerleader. She knew that that was a conflict. She said, well, we'll let you come back. You went through all of this back and forth, flying to Dallas, trying out for the team, the different auditions. And she allowed me to pick up, but I chose to go in the direction of bodybuilding.
Okay. Now, who's your team today? Who's your are you a Lions fan or?
You know, I mean, I always be a Lions fan. Just, I mean, anything Detroit, always will support the Detroit Lions. But I would say like my team, I love Tom Brady, but I wasn't crazy about the team that he was playing for. So I'm always rooting for him. So I probably rooted for him more when he played this year. I think he's an amazing athlete. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was my first love because I go back to my beginning of Franco Harris and trying to think of it escapes me, the wide receiver, that team and Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback, that was my first love. So I would say I kind of always have this special thing for Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, they've always been a good team. They're, they have their couple of bad years, but they're always up there at the top. But you it says that you graduated with a degree in political science.
Yes.
Yeah. And you thought about being a lawyer. What happened with that?
I definitely thought about being a lawyer. Well, actually, I had so much that was really, really kind of going on in my life. I mean, when I think about it, my heart was really with wanting to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Again, I know that's not a career. So I go through my, 4 years at Western Michigan, I graduate. And then I'm lucky enough to get a great job with, at the time, the company was called Burroughs, and they changed over to Unisys. And at the time, they were the third largest computer, I guess you would say conglomerate over, IBM was number one. I can't really remember number two, but Burroughs started a very long time ago as a typewriting company. When you think about computers and you think about keyboards, at the time, that's how they began. But so I worked for them. I had a great job. I worked in human resources. I was making good money. And so in that case, it just didn't really make any sense for me to, it wasn't in my heart.
Yeah.
I really didn't know, what I wanted to do. So I would say that that's really the thing. I didn't pursue it the way I pursued cheerleading, the way I pursued bodybuilding, the way, I really didn't. So.
Well, we all know that turned out. You can turn around and see all those trophies behind you.
Yeah, right. I got my girls.
Obviously, you made the right choice in that. I was just curious why.
Yes, I did.
Now, with the political background and stuff like that, even today, have you thought about? I don't usually talk about politics, but have you thought about that today, like with your background and your influence in the public, to running for office or doing anything in that?
Oh gosh, you know what? No, never thought about running for office. I think
I could see you as a Detroit mayor or something like that.
You said what?
I could see you probably as the Detroit mayor.
Oh my goodness. You know what, man? I think I would, to be honest with you, I would suck at it. Like, to me, like, and I'm not gonna say suck at it. Because I think also that I do understand politics, and my personality and the cheerleading, kind of, whether people want to really kind of understand how my personality and cheerleading and politics, how I won 8 Miss Olympia. So it wasn't just all about like being physical. It was like playing a chess game, being smart, making certain moves.
Right.
I mean, truly. But as far as like to run, gosh, you have to like.
Yeah. Well, you got to surround yourself by good people too. So.
Yeah. And that I definitely know how to do, is surround myself with good people, but I think especially now, maybe back in the day, knowing what I know about the politics of that day, that would be different than today. Today, it's like anything in your history, you have any skeletons in your closet. It's, I don't, not interested.
No.
They find a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just curious. I didn't know if you ever were asked that or not. So.
Yeah. No, I've never been asked that question. You are the first person to ask that question.
That's the cop in me. I always think of stuff.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, because my college degree and what I did at Western Michigan is something that, gosh, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It was very important to me to graduate with a degree.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, same with me. I got a degree in criminal justice, but whether I'll use it, I don't know. Yeah. So, well, anyways, fast forward to where you started training with this guy named Ron Love. He's a great guy. That's how I met him. Was through his history about being a police officer. You know, he and I are both police officers, and then
yes,
where he trains, Andrea Shaw. I interviewed her also, and everybody,
yes.
and then they mentioned you, and I'm like, man, what are they putting in the water in Detroit? Holy crap!
That's right. That's right. Right. Yeah, Michigan. We have actually. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 four Miss Olympia champions. Iris Kyle is originally from Michigan, from Benton Harbor, I believe, born and raised. I don't know how long she lived there.
Yeah.
Then you have Andrea, you have myself, and Nicole Wilkins. So yeah.
That's right. Nicole is too. Wow.
That's right.
Wow, that is crazy. So what was so you got with Ron? Ron kind of helped you a little bit, and then you went to the NPC Nationals. Was your first?
So when I first started, I stayed local, you know.
And you did you start out bodybuilding, or did you start out figure, or what did you start out as?
No, I started out bodybuilding. When I started competing, it was just women's bodybuilding.
Okay.
Fitness did not exist, or figure, or any of that. So it was the only option, bodybuilding. It was very simple back then. And, you know, Ron Love was for me, and it's amazing because, again, I spent a lot of time as a cheerleader in high school and college. So therefore, I spent most of my time around athletes familiar to me, football, basketball, baseball athletes, track and field. And when I joined Powerhouse Gym in Highland Park to basically stay in shape, but to lose weight so that I could successfully make that cheerleading team go back after the USFL and make that cheerleading team. And I walked into Woodward Powerhouse, and when I saw Ron Love in person, that was the very first time I saw a bodybuilder in person. And I was just like, I knew of bodybuilders, didn't really quite know a lot about bodybuilding, that there was a career, where did they go? And so that was my first introduction to a professional athlete in bodybuilding.
Yeah. Was Ron still a police officer then?
Yes, he was still a police officer. He had not turned pro yet.
Okay.
He was on his way to turning pro. So that's when I learned of this, mission to go from amateur to professional. But yes, he was still a police officer. He was toward the end, I think. And I also knew that he played for the Detroit Tigers somehow. I don't know if he was on their farm team.
Yeah, he came down to Florida and did some minor league stuff too. He was telling me.
Okay.
Yeah. He also said that Powerhouse didn't allow females. So, like, were you one of the first females allowed in there?
Yeah, good, very good information. Absolutely. Yeah. I was one of the first females. So then that tells you how long I've been involved in the sport in my history.
Yeah.
It's not only that female bodybuilding was, the only division of our industry at the time, but women did not work out normally in the same gym with men. It was co-ed. So I was one of the very first, and Will Davish, the owner of the Powerhouse Gym in Woodward, I believe when I walked in the gym, there were probably, I'm going to say maybe 8 other women just starting to work out there. So I was in that first group. One of my best friends, Terry Gillum, and I know she was there prior to me and several other women, and they were into weight training. So this was all new. So yeah, one of the first women at that gym.
And I can only imagine them seeing you come in there, just coming off of cheerleading and trying out for the Cowboys. These guys were probably like going crazy.
Yeah. That's cute. Yeah. Well, I think that and there's truth to what you're saying, in that when I first walked into that gym, I had a physique because of being a collegiate cheerleader. When you think of college cheerleaders, a lot of what we do, you have a strong athletic, skills, because you have to do a lot of gymnastics, back handsprings, so you have strong shoulders, you have abdominals, you have strong legs, and you can do a lot of stunts. So when I walked in the gym, and Ron Love saw me, and I think it was probably within 3 days of me being in the gym, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, well, I'm here because I want to lose weight, and I'm on my way to being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And he says to me, well, wow, like maybe you should really think that, because he's like, what future is there in cheerleading? And then he's telling me about competing in bodybuilding, and that I have the structure, just the natural genetics to be very good in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And he's the first person that really pointed that out to me.
Yeah. Now, did you find that did it take long for the other guys in the gym to respect you? Because they didn't realize, here you are as a college graduate and, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader and all this stuff like that. And they didn't see that.
Correct. You know what? Well, I think I'm going to tell you, I definitely walked in the gym and I got respect in the sense that I was a USFL cheerleader, Michigan Panther. And so in Michigan, it was pretty impressive. And by that time, we had already won the first USFL championships. And so it was really a big thing. So people, they knew that that is, but as far as like respect in the gym, it was probably just like, again, like a female with a nice body in the gym. She's a cheerleader. Okay. Oh yeah, you're cute. That type of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's that. Look at that little young face. That's me.
Hey, you still got it. You still have a young face. So whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes it was challenging, when I look at some pictures, just transitioning into understanding how to, because dieting down, you lose a lot of your, you lose fat in your face. Right. And you lose fat in your face. So that was it was definitely an adjustment for me to go from cheerleading to transition into bodybuilding. And and I'm looking at all these different looks that I've had over the years. And so there were times where, in the beginning, it was not comfortable making that transition. Some great photos.
Yeah, there are. I was looking to see if there was any cheerleading ones in here. You're not too bulky here.
Yeah, actually, and that's, when I see the pictures here, that was probably, I probably won my third Olympia, believe it or not, with that physique at the time. And that's when I think I had more pressure on me. I put the pressure on myself to really represent the sport, as far as, because I wanted what we all want in bodybuilding at the time. We didn't have social media. So the thing you most desired was to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, on the cover of Flex magazine, to be inside the magazine. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to compete and train hard and have a look enough to win the Miss Michigan or the North American Championships or win the Miss Olympia. But after that happens, you want to see your face in the magazine. You want to walk through the airport and see the cover and see your face on that. And so for me, I started to put my looks and my brand to make that happen. And so in doing so, I subjected myself to not being the most muscular or the most ripped, you know? And that's where I said with the politics, as far as playing chess and making certain decisions so that I could, you know, for what I thought be successful.
How many magazines were you in? Do you remember?
How many magazines? Well, a lot of magazines. I was always in the magazines. I would say pretty much every single month. There was something in there.
Now, who was Mr. Olympia around your time? Was it Lee?
Lee was Mr. Olympia. We were, I think, Mr. and Miss Olympia at the same time once, like just one time. His last Olympia, my first.
Okay, then it went to Dorian.
90. But mostly it was Dorian Yates. It was Dorian. Pretty much, because Dorian, he won 6 Olympias.
Yeah. Did you talk to him much or do a lot of photo shoots with him?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't really do a lot of photo shoots with Dorian Yates, but Dorian Yates, I would say, out of all of the Mr. Olympias, he and I had the best relationship as far as, because we did travel a lot together and going to different events. And I got a chance to know him. And so got to really know him. You know, Lee Haney was somebody that I looked at, and he was up there on the wall at Powerhouse Gym. And then, you know, I win the Olympia. And I get a chance to but I don't get to know him at the time. I have a much better relationship with him now because I get to see him and, you know, work with him. Yeah, but Dorian, I had a close relationship with Dorian. Still do.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you went all the way till 97, I think was your last Olympia, right? And then you retired.
That's right. That's right.
And then you came. Right. What made you decide to retire?
Well, first of all, and I always tell people this, so I won 6 consecutive. I tried to break the record because Corey had 6. And that was my 6th. And so I was really starting to already lose momentum as far as, because what I was doing as far as in my look and me being very much concerned about my image. So I'm not training like a beast and I'm not dieting. I'm dieting hard, but I'm concerned very much about my look. I was losing momentum, and there were women like Kim Shizevsky who they were in the gym training hard, going at it, balls to the wall, you want to call it. And there's no way I could catch her. So when I talk about my first loss and somebody that kicked my ass, it was Kim Shizevsky. My 7th Olympia attempt, it's the only time that I stood on the stage at the Olympia and during the competition. And you know what's going on because you have enough experience by call outs and what they're doing, and they're moving you around. And I looked at her on stage, and I remember she was so amazing and rock hard and solid and no shaking. She was just, and I said, oh my God, like that's the thought. And actually that's the only time that I really ever had that thought in all of my Miss Olympia competitions toward another competitor. Mm-hmm. And it was scary, you know. And then I tried to come back, and she had too much momentum. Yeah. And I had too much to try to catch up and learn as far as where the sport, the direction it was going, mm-hmm. as far as like the athletes out there. And so when I got second and I gave it a good attempt, it was enough for me. And I knew it was time for me to retire. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to try to, you know, do it a third time. It's like it gets bad then. So mm-hmm. it was time. Mm-hmm. It was time to retire. Mm-hmm. So I did so. Had no choice. Kim Krzyzewski.
Yeah. And then you came back in 2002?
And then I came back in 2002.
Mm-hmm. Which is really unheard of for any competitor to come back and then win after retiring for what, 5-6 years?
Right. 5 years. 5 years.
That's amazing. Yeah. What brought you back?
Well, what really brought me back was a couple things. One is during my off period of time, I had probably my first job where, man, it was like I learned so much, and it was just a lot of work. It was a lot more work than competing. Mm-hmm. I owned and operated a gym in Norfolk, in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And man, from the day I took over that gym, which I had that gym for 5.5 years, I mean, the responsibility, the overhead, the employees, the having a daycare, dealing with kids and liability and cleaning toilets. And, you know, people think when you're the owner, like everything comes easy. Oh, you're the owner. And I kind of thought that. That's that naive place that we come from. And I also thought that the gym business was about like getting in shape. That was also naive. It is about getting in shape. So that made me come back. Mm-hmm. And I had the opportunity to look back at what I had. I had the opportunity to miss bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And I started to get like, that was probably the worst shape I let myself get in during that time, because it's not a lot of time to work out. And I kind of lost myself. And then also what made me come back is I had an opportunity to look at what was going on in bodybuilding. And I saw Juliet Berkman come back. Mm-hmm. And I always loved Juliet Berkman's physique. When I saw her come back, and then I saw where she beat Iris Kyle, because what they did is they had classes. Mm-hmm. So Iris won the heavyweight, Juliet won the lightweight, and then overall, Juliet won. I knew I had the opportunity to come back. Mm-hmm. And so I took advantage of that. Mm-hmm. and made that decision without telling a lot of people about it. Because I knew, and that's where I say my politics and the way you play, I knew that it was not going to be to my advantage to go and tell a lot of people about that decision.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Do you feel like a lot changed, like going from the 90s into the 2000s? Like, did bodybuilding change when you came back? You're like, oh boy, this is a little bit different.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It changed. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I feel like it really changed when in 1996 when I lost the Olympia, and it had already started to change. And I say this like in a really good way, as far as there were smart trainers, people that really knew what they were doing. And I say that about Chad Nichols, because Chad is the one that helped me to come back in 2002. I could not have done that successfully. I knew how to, train. I knew how to diet. I had all of that. And that's the type of person that Chad likes to work with. And so I feel, I mean, maybe there's someone else that really did make a difference in that last 3 days or that week of the show, and how to manipulate water, carbs, and all of that. And he mastered that, and it was obvious, because the first time I saw it was with Kim. I did not see that in the men. I saw that in the women. Maybe I wasn't paying that much attention to what they were doing, but that's when I saw the shift. So I knew in order for me to come back and compete in 2002, that had already taken root, and a lot of the athletes, men and women, started to understand. We always tried to do something to manipulate water intake and carbs and all of that, but I had to have that expert there. So when I came back, that was the thing that I needed to incorporate, and no better person to ask to assist me in that than Chad Nichols, who beat me via his Kim, the team that he had.
Yeah. As you got now in 2002, you were you in your 40s by then?
In 2002, yeah, I was coming close to my 40s. I'm turning 2002. I'm 59 now. So how old? I wasn't quite. I was getting close to the 40s.
You were close. Yeah,
I was 40. Close.
So it started getting a little bit more difficult on the diet and stuff. Or how do you feel it went?
You know what? I feel, as far as the diet, I would say like, for me at the time, no, because I had that break, and also I had the how can I say it? You have that break, and also let me be clear that during my 5 years off, I did not try to be something different than what I was. I was a bodybuilder. I was proud of being a female bodybuilder. And I also had the opportunity to watch Corey Everson after competing, and her trying to transition into acting. And, at that time, I was no fool. I recognized, and I knew to not be in competition or to try to do or think that I was going to do what Arnold did, or think that I was going to do what Corey or Rachel. I had already long learned that I'm Lenda Murray, and who I am, just because it's kind of ludicrous for people to even think that, I'm going to go into acting. I'm like, well, that's kind of really crazy. I lived in LA for years, and so I know how that really works.
You were in a couple movies, though, right?
Pardon?
You were in a couple movies.
Yeah, I was in a couple movies. I was in a couple movies.
I saw that, and I saw some TV shows. And how in the hell did you end up on the Jerry Springer show?
I know, right? Well, check this out. I know, right? And sometimes it's like, I think I'm pretty sure, like, if I put together my resume, I would not put Jerry Springer on there.
Hopefully it wasn't one of those "you are not the father" type.
No, because oh my God, poor God. Yeah, because Jerry Springer, he was trying to be Phil Donahue.
I remember Donahue.
Remember Phil Donahue?
Oh yeah.
So in the beginning, his show was completely not that.
Right. That's true. It wasn't as crazy.
He totally did an about face, because he said, either I continue to try to go down this Phil Donahue road, and Phil was no longer Phil Donahue. I mean, that was like not the successful route to go. I mean, you had some like Oprah Winfrey comes in, and she established herself as that.
Oh yeah.
You know, so anyway, yeah, Jerry tried it, and then it's like after that, it turned into like reality TV, I guess.
Now you played a character with Terry Crews, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How is Terry?
Yeah, it's great. Oh my God, you know, like he is like the best guy. He's very
I've never met him, but I imagine he's the same way off camera as he is.
He is. He's very balanced, and I think that's why he's so successful in the industry. Just very bad. I mean, there's so much about him. You know, he went to Western Michigan University. He graduated from Western. He played football for Western Michigan University. He and I got to talk about that.
Yeah, he's a big bodybuilding fan too.
Yeah, he is. He is. And that's where too, because I got a chance to talk to him again when Joe Weider passed away, and he was at the memorial service for Joe. And this is before I got the part to play his mother. They dressed me up and everything. And he was like, Linda, you know, and you're not my mom. Like, you could not be my mother, but they dressed me up to be his mom. So that was all cool. Because they really wanted somebody to act crazy and dance like him. Because, you know, he's like really into dancing.
Right.
So I got the part because when I did the audition, it was all about me. They were looking for a female bodybuilder, Black woman, muscular, and I had to dance. So when I did the audition, I did the robot, and I was doing my little thing, and I got the job. So it was cool. It was fun.
That's really cool.
Fun meeting Adam Sandler and being on the set, and had my own trailer. It was nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I knew that wasn't, you know, I didn't pursue that. It's like if somebody's, the way it works to me is if they come out and they're looking for a bodybuilder, and I fit that criteria, I have to do a lot of work. I mean, not meaning I'll do the work if you want me, but I'm not about to like it was a lot what Arnold did to get to where he did that.
Yeah.
You have to really, really want it. It's a different industry.
Yeah, I was interviewing somebody not long ago. We were talking about that. I think it was Quincy Taylor, because he was in some movies. About how the Hollywood now is just it's not the big guys anymore, you know, like it used to be. I mean, you got The Rock, he still stays pretty big, but like Arnold and all those guys that were back in the 80s, you don't see that anymore.
No. And you know what I think again too, honestly, it's just so much that goes into when you're trying to do something, when you have a goal. You know, you have to make your mind up. I mean, I see people all the time. It's like, even in our industry, they say, I want to compete, and they go through the process, and they say, I want to be pro, and they go through the process, and then they turn pro, and then they'll say, oh, you know, I want to win the Olympia, and I, you know, that's great, but, you know, are you truly passionate about it? And are you willing to be there for the long haul? Because things don't always take you in that direction. You have to, if you're passionate about it, nothing's going to stop you. So I think, for example, with Arnold, you know, he was passionate about it. He's a big guy. He had an accent. He was willing to live in LA. He was willing to do all the things that he needed to do to be there. And so even if you're a big guy right now, and that's what you really want to do, well, trying to do the two, I mean, yeah, you can be a professional and be successful and go and win the Olympia, but to also really, truly like kind of thing, you can go and just be like on the big screen. Yeah, it depends. If they find a role that's perfect for you, like they did with Lou Ferrigno in the Hulk. It was perfect for that, you know, and if there's something like that happens, then it can happen. So I'm not going to say that is so different in comparison to what Arnold. I just think that get people like Arnold, and he just determined and focused, and he knows what he wants, and he's not insecure about it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I have an accent, but I'll take some lessons. But this is cool. My accent's cool. You guys,
that accent made him money. Yeah,
it made him money. You'll adjust, and that's what he did.
Yeah. Did you ever get approached or ever thought about wrestling?
You know what? It wasn't that I was approached. It was that it was something that I, in my head, and it's a good question because I just recently have been working on an article with Bill Dobbins on Melissa Coates. Melissa Coates just passed away. Melissa Coates
I saw that,
competed in bodybuilding. I did some photo shoots with her when she was competing as a bodybuilder. And right in 1999, she made the decision. She didn't do well at the Jantana, and then she just did an about face and decided that she wanted to be a wrestler. So I was going through something in 1989. So in me doing this article on her and reading her story, and then I was really like kind of grateful that what I was trying to pursue and trying to make happen didn't happen. All of us as professionals, and I just stay focused on bodybuilding, when you lose the Olympia or you win the Olympia and you retire, and you've had this 8-year run of winning and being identified as that champion, when it's time to retire, it's challenging because then you have to figure out, like, how do you top that? What do I do in my life that gives me that much fulfillment and joy? And now I have to get used to not hearing the applause. So I actually, because wrestling, Jim McMahon, Vince McMahon, I had the opportunity to meet Vince McMahon in 1990. And this is something that some people are not maybe familiar with, that bodybuilding was, Vince came in and he started the WBF.
WBF, yes. Yeah.
And he went in and started to solicit some of the current men. He signed some of those guys. And then, of course, I won the Miss Olympia in 1990. My thing was to always be in Muscle & Fitness and Joe Weider and that whole thing. And then they approached me and I declined that, which was a good move. But I always had a relationship with Vince McMahon and the wrestlers and his daughter, Stephanie, and Triple H, and they love bodybuilding. A lot of them are bodybuilders, really. They weight train, you know. And also The Rock, meeting Dwayne Johnson back when he would come to the Nationals. And so I always had a relationship with them. So when I retired, and in 99, I was kind of feeling like, okay, where do I go? I just thought, well, that would be a great fit. Well, Stephanie actually did fly me into the camp, and I attempted to learn how to do those moves. And I was 34 years old. And I thought, I'm still young, I could do this. You know, just take me and put me out there and give me some, you know, like just something simple, like play, I don't know what you want to call it, because it's like television. But here's the fact. That industry and what they do, they are some amazing athletes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My brother wrestles. My brother wrestles amateur, and it's those injuries aren't fake that they get. Yeah, they really get hurt. Yeah. They
really truly get hurt. And at that time it was just like, I'm glad it didn't happen for me, you know, because I got again to relive through the recent article, the passing of Melissa Coates. And then I said to myself, you know, I was lucky that because I think I would have figured it out. Like, because my first time doing that move where when you run and then and you got to fake that fall. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
hit the,
You hit the mat.
You hit the mat, man. That's like I've never had that kind of like physical pain in the days after.
Right.
So yeah. Mad respect for the WWE. Mad respect for wrestling. They're true athletes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know, us as bodybuilders, we're just supposed to look tough. We're not tough.
Yeah. And I learned that very quickly. So
yes. Oh yeah, I do too. Trust me. I get these guys that younger guys than me. They all think I can run and do this and that. So I'm gonna listen. Do not run because I will not chase you.
Yeah.
I'm 285 pounds. I trust me. You will get away from me.
I understand.
Yeah. So, do you miss competing? And if you, what do you miss the most?
You know, I so thank you, God. I do not miss competing at all. And for me, the reason being, I got a chance to come back. You know, I've had my chance to miss competing, and I came back and I did it successfully. The only thing that I miss about competing is when I'm at a show and I watch now the athletes on stage and putting together posing routines and knowing that feeling. I mean, I know what they had to do to get there, and my body right now, where I'm at my age, I just have no desire I can't do it, you know, physically. And also I have too much information in regards to what it would take.
Right.
And what it took. And as we get older and we're smarter, you know, you just realize like, wow, you know, I was really blessed. I had a good run. But yeah, I love where I'm at right now as far as I get to really play a role in the industry in a different way that I didn't even expect would happen. But I placed myself correctly. And so, but yeah, man, I love watching them, but that's a tough role, especially now with the industry and the numbers.
Yeah. I was going to ask
Amazing.
you, how do you think the future looks for female bodybuilding?
Excuse me. I know without question, I mean, I feel much better today about the future of female bodybuilding. And that's for many reasons. I have some, I think, inside information in just first of all, working with Jake Wood and knowing that his true love for all of the women and his respect for things being fair between men and women and the support that he gives, that's really awesome. And I think to say this, I experienced that same thing like with Joe Weider, in that Joe, he was passionate about the sport, and he definitely had respect for the women. However, he was selling magazines and he's a businessman, so he recognized that the extreme, whether it be a man or a woman, would not necessarily sell a lot of magazines. And he's trying to sell magazines in every state and throughout the country. So he's going to put on the cover what is the norm and what is acceptable and what's mainstream. And I would say now with women bodybuilding, I mean, I'm really excited because when I sat in the audience at the Miss Olympia this year to see Andrea like genuinely win the Olympia, and to see like an athlete that was so well-rounded, just even under her energy and her face and her expression. And that right there, for me, that's what we need to do is to continue to, I mean, women's bodybuilding, I'm a woman, it's different from the men. Just is. I mean, and I think when you start getting people and they're saying, oh, no, it's not different. I'm like, well, no, it is different. You know, I mean, the approach is different.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is kind of like, let's say it's like, it's a beauty contest. Every single division in a different kind of way. It's a beauty contest. I mean, even with the men, you know, you can get a champion up there and he's just like rock hard and just huge and big,
right?
You know, and all of these things. But like, if you put him on the cover of Flex magazine, people that love that, the magazine itself. But if you're putting him on the cover of like Muscle and Fitness or a magazine that the general population, mainstream, they don't understand it. They just look and go, oh my God, you know.
Yeah, they don't understand the art of it.
They don't understand the art of it. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things we all get involved in. Some of the women get involved in like bikini or figure, and they're like, well, looks shouldn't matter. I'm gonna say, what are you like crazy? Did you like type or something? Yeah. Like people see everything. Are you kidding me? I know you know, this is not who crosses the finish line first. Not that way, it's not.
Yeah. Well, Miss Linda, I won't take up too much of your time. And you know, it's a holiday weekend, so I know you probably got plans with the family.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I really appreciate it. Last time when I interviewed Andrea, she wanted to get me, you, and Ron on maybe one day. I think that'd be awesome.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we have like a whole little Detroit thing going on.
Yeah. I would love that. I would love that. Because like I say, like for me, like I'm so proud of Michigan. I'm so proud of I mean, it just brought tears to my eyes when she won the Olympia.
Yeah.
And you know, before she won the Olympia, I was at Woodward Powerhouse and I was standing there, and it was with Ron Love and Andrea, myself, John Simmons. And it was just like, you know, memories going back like over 30 years ago, our start. And so,
yeah, that'd be awesome. All right. Well, Miss Linda, thank you. Madam Mayor.
Yeah, that's it, Madam Mayor.
Maybe one day.
Who knows?
Who knows? Now, if you ever do that, you got to remember me now. I'm going to come on and I'm going to be your head of security or something.
Okay, I will, Jason. I would definitely remember that. You'll be the first.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's all I have. Well, thank you. You have a good day.
All right. Same to you. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.